What if Sandy Shocks was in Gen 1 OU? Now, I'm assuming most people here like Magneton, but at the very least, you saw Big Yellow's video and you got a big respect for him. It's a shame that Magneton doesn't really have anything going on for it in Gen 1 OU, but luckily Sandy Shocks is the exact opposite. In fact, this guy, I'm going to say it's even better than Magnezone. In terms of Gen 9 OU, that's just fact. Like Magnezone, I don't even know where he dropped often, and Sandy Shocks actually was in OU for a time. But it's actually not that different from Gen 1 either. While Magnezone does have a really good Psychic and Normal Resist, instead of an Ice weakness, he has an Ice Resistance. Unfortunately, having a quad weakness to Earthquake really damns you, to the point where you honestly would rather Magneton, which is a pure electric type, at least for Gen 1, which Magneton is. Magnezone can't be if you put in custom games. But that's where Sandy Shocks comes in, because with Electric Ground, the two typings don't really mess with each other too much. And that's mostly because, for Electric, I think it's a really balanced type, because it's really good offensively. There's not a lot of things that resist it. However, it has one weakness, and that one weakness is completely immune to you. But that also makes it interesting for other types, like Ground here. Because since Electric only has one weakness, for Gen 1, where there's no physical or special split, that means all ground moves are physical. Which means that Reflect is actually a really good move that basically can remove one of your weaknesses altogether. Granted, when it comes to crits from, let's say, Tauros, it's still gonna hurt a lot, maybe even Oko you, but overall, just a really good move. The same also goes for his stats. Being a past Paradox Pokemon, everything is an odd number for some reason, but luckily the stat distribution is pretty good. 85 HP and Special Defense are honestly pretty good for the time. It's higher than Tauros' Special. And 97 Defense is also pretty good. And I don't really understand why it has that of all things. I figured this guy would be like a fast attacker, which he technically is. It's just weird that his third biggest stat is in defense of all things. The attack is honestly kind of mid, but also not. And that's because with Stab Earthquake, it's hitting as hard as a neutral Hyper Beam anyways. So because of that, its Earthquakes are going to be hitting things pretty hard. It's going to be hitting Alakazam and Chansey pretty hard. It's going to be hitting super effective things pretty hard. Overall, you're just not really lacking in power, despite the attacks that make it look like you would be. And to no one's surprise, 121 special attack is great. You just hit everything super hard, and with 101 speed, which makes you faster than Zapdos by the way, you have a really good crit rate as well as you outspeeding a lot of stuff. Along with outspeeding Zapdos, you also outspeed Jinx, which that might be the reason you don't get completely destroyed. But it's also nice that you're faster than other things like Swobro. Really good you're faster than Rhydon, because that makes Reflect kind of relevant. And just a lot of things in general. Really good. And Thunder Wave, as usual, is great. Especially since you're faster at things like Jinx, like I just said. Some other moves it has are Body Slam, Light Screen, Supersonic, and Hyper Beam. But none of them are really that good. I guess technically, with Light Screen, it can be the opposite of Earthquake with Reflect, where you can get rid of your, in a way, remove your water and ice weaknesses. Though you're still going to be weak to grass no matter what, since Razor Leaf's always a crit. But I don't think that works very well, mostly because everything that has Blizzard has a really great crit rate. So most likely you're going to hit past that anyways. Meanwhile, Outside of Tauros with Earthquake, who has Blizzard anyways, you're faster than both Rhydon and Snorlax, two of the most common Earthquake users in the entire tier, which means Sandy Shocks can always outspeed them and remove that weakness. Doesn't make the match guaranteed, but that definitely helps you out a lot. And Supersonic is just a bad move. Maybe Body Slam, but since you have Thunder Wave, I don't think you need a move just to do some chip damage and also maybe get a paralysis. Because not only is the paralysis not guaranteed, but if you're using literally any other attacking move other than Earthquake, it's not going to do that much. So it's not even like Body Slam would do decent chip to something. And Hyper Beam hits as hard as Earthquake, and you're just a fool not to use Earthquake instead. The only benefit is hitting Executor, which won't even hit you or hit it for that hard. Anything that's immune to Earthquake, you have Thunderbolt for, because Electric and Ground are perfect coverage for each other. So overall, I guess you can call this a much better Magneton. I know that's shocking for some of you to hear. I know most of you are big time Magneton fans. But I think he's going to have what it takes to be good. He has great stats, a good typing, both offensively and defensively. And the move pool is honestly perfect. It has everything you could ever need. I suppose maybe it wouldn't mind Blizzard, but that's asking for too much, I would say. Alright, let's get into the replays. Starting off with the boy himself, Tauros. Tauros being an Earthquake user faster than you is annoying. And to be honest, it probably would rather use Blizzard anyways. But luckily, without a crit, you can always be strong against it. As well as Tauros also being scared of your crits as well. It has super effective coverage against you, and it probably wins most of the time. But to be honest, even just paralyzing the Tauros in of itself is a massive win for you. So I'm going to call it as a could go either way. One that's more so in Tauros' favor, but unless Tauros gets a crit wizard, it's almost always going to have you crippling it in some way, if not just outright KOing it. Now unfortunately, with Snorlax's bulk, not only is Thunder Wave potentially not worth it, because you need a turn of Reflect and a turn of Thunder Wave before you can even start hurting it, but they can tank a lot of your Thunderbolts. Granted, you can always fish for crits, and with crits you're going to do significantly better, but still, it's very dangerous, and by the time you're done, you're left at very low HP. Because of how fast you are, you can maybe have another opportunity to do something later, but it's not a great position to be in. And then for Amnesia Lax, you're just screwed, kinda. Because you have Earthquake, but it's not going to do that much, nor will Critical Thunderbolt, where you put Snorlax in danger. So no matter what, it just always beats you. Unless it's an Amnesia Lax set that uses Thunderbolt instead. But I've always seen that in the ladder. I've never seen any serious player only use Thunderbolt. Doesn't seem very good at all. So you're going to assume the Snorlax will have a Ice move, and that you'll be screwed. Now Earthquake is a 3-hit KO on Chansey. So just paralyzing it in Earthquake, that alone is pretty promising. Although Ice Beam does a lot of damage to you. So most likely you're going to need a crit in order to beat it. But then again, with it being a 3-hit KO, it's very awkward for Chansey's soft boils. Does it go for the kill against you, or does it keep healing? It can't use Thunder Wave on you. So it's an awkward situation. One that Chansey can win if it really wants to be aggressive. But is that even worth it? Now Zam with crits and special drops are very annoying and very dangerous. But at the same time, you can definitely survive, assuming those don't happen, and then you can take out the Zam with 2 Earthquakes, assuming you paralyze it. So, it's a good go either way. There's not much to really say, it just depends on Zam's RNG. And Cloyster has the potential to really hurt you. Clamp and Blizzard are super effective, however Sandy Shocks is faster. I'm still going to put the matchup it could go either way, because any chip for either one of them could potentially be a death sentence. but it's definitely in Sandy Shocks' favor. No question about it. And Executor is your only true unwinnable matchup. You can paralyze it, and you have, I guess, Supersonic, Body Slam, and Hyper Beam for alternatives. But outside of that, Thunderbolt and Earthquake are both resisted by Executor. So Executor can always take you on. Doesn't even need to put you to sleep, really. It can just keep using Psychics, and it knows you can't do anything against it. And Gengar. Without sleep, it can't do that much because you're immune to Thunderbolt. Psychic could be annoying, but probably not. So its only real way of hurting you is most likely going to be Nightshade. So if a Pokemon's already put to sleep, Gengar's kind of screwed, and Sandy Shocks can take it on easily. Not to mention Hypnosis is probably too risky to use anyways, since Sandy Shocks has a great crit rate, unlike, let's say, Rhydon. So I'm pretty sure Earthquake already OHKOs Rhydon or OHKOs Gengar anyways. And Jolteon can't do anything to you. Double Kick and Pin moves will do such terrible damage, you might as well just be using Splash, so that's why I decided to do that for the replay. I don't think you guys need to know what the damage calc for Double Kick is. Maybe Sandy Shocks will be in Season 4 of Generation Jumble, so maybe Double Kick against Sandy Shocks will be relevant, but for now, none of you need that information. And Sandy Shocks versus Jinx. Jinx, I'm gonna say, probably doesn't need to put you to sleep, especially since it's pretty risky since Earthquake can 2-hit KO you. It's a bad matchup, but one that you can win with either crit or good paralysis luck. And to be honest, if you're staring down at Jinx, I'm not sure what's even better between going for the paralysis or hoping for a crit. Might depend on the situation, or there might just be an objective answer there. Not sure. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as for Rhydon, with Reflect you cannot instantly die. However, there's still the problem of, not only is it still a 3-hit KO, but by using Reflect, you're still giving the Rhydon a free chance to hit you. So if the Reflect is already set up, you probably win, as Rhydon getting a crit is unlikely. However, outside of that, it could go either way, where you're only really winning if you manage to get a crit. Which, to be fair, is decently likely. Swelbro can't afford to go for Amnesia on Sandy Shocks, as Sandy Shocks is faster and always does a lot of damage. So, Sandy Shocks can always just take it out. However, if the Swelbro already has Amnesia's up, it's still pretty risky. But also, with Sandy Shocks' crit rate, you can OHKO Swelbro. But at the same time, with just one Amnesia, it's more than enough to kill you. Because Sandy Shocks is so much faster, and because you're probably taking it out against a non-boosted Swelbro, I'm putting it in the good matchup, but it's definitely one where you can die if it gets really unlucky for you. And Starmie can do a lot of damage with Blizzard, but with Paralysis, that's already pretty annoying, and Thunderbolt does way more damage than I would have thought. So if Starmie misses a Blizzard or gets fully paralyzed, you can very easily win. A crit also OHKO Starmie, but a crit Blizzard kills you as well. So I'm going to say it could go either way. And last but not least, we have Zapdos. Because you resist Drill Peck, Zapdos just legitimately can't do anything to you. So there's really no reason why Sandy Shocks can't just fully set up. Get that Reflect up, it's very hard to kill now, and Zapdos can't do anything. It can't even paralyze you. It's just a fantastic matchup, where it almost beats Zapdos as hard as Rhydon does. And maybe even as close, since you're always going to be faster and hit Drill Peck anyways. So it's actually going to be doing the same amount of damage as you would using a Drill Peck on a Rhydon. And I find that funny. Either way though, here is the tier list. Oh, this is supposed to be a great matchup. Not sure why that wasn't, could go either way. But yeah, this is really good. There's no doubt that Sandy Shocks would be a great electric type. Definitely better than Jolteon. And I think Ooh, do I think that Zapdos would be worse than Sandy Shocks? To be fair, Sandy Shocks being in the format definitely would kind of mess with Zapdos' viability as a whole. And I don't even think there's too much of a bad thing for using Rhydon and Sandy Shocks, because both are just really powerful offensively. And I think it'll be easy to use like a Cloyster or a Lapras or something that fill in your Blizzard weakness with both of them. Ooh, I don't know. At the moment, I'm going to lean towards Zapdos being better. But that's a really good question that I want you guys to answer. How good do you think Sandy Shock would be? Would it be better than Zapdos? Would it be better than Rhydon? Let me know in the comments below. But until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.